Hey guys, how are you today? Hope that you're having a wonderful day. Um, Coming to you today from Chicago, my last day in Chicago. Woo woo. At least until later this summer. I'll be back in August for a few days and then back for another 10 days in September. So I'll be very excited to come back. As I said yesterday, I just love, love, love this town. So I'm coming to you today from my friend Kristen's place, and I am heading to my brother's tomorrow morning, and I cannot wait to see my little bubbies. It's going to be very fun. But kind of wanted to talk to you today a little bit about my professional journey. So I know, especially if some of you are younger than older, you probably haven't experienced this yet, but I remember after I graduated from college, I graduated with a political science and international studies degree, and thought I knew exactly where life was taking me, right? Like I thought I knew I had to figure it out right then, and which is totally laughable right now, which is why I'm laughing. And so I came to DC. I knew that I wanted to, get some sort of job in the government. And just had never worked in an office, so I wasn't really sure. So I ended up working on the Hill, which quite frankly I hated. So if any of you are working on the Hill, God bless you. It's not for me. And then worked at a defense contracting company, and then decided, you know what, I need to get more experience, more, you know, chops in this area to get a better job. And so I went back to grad school and got a degree from Elliott School from George Washington University in International Security, which is really hilarious now because, as you guys probably know, I do nothing to do with that right now. But it was very, very, very important to my path and how I got to be where I am today. So, some people might say paying for that school was a waste of time because, I'm not implementing any of that learning today and what I do professionally, but you'll see kind of a little bit along the lines of how it afforded me to get to where I am today. So as a result of being at GW, I applied for a job at GAO as an intern and was hired on full-time at GAO. Which was a great way to start my career. It's basically government consulting. So what the Government Accountability Office does is it looks at all the programs in the government and makes sure the money's being spent well, there's no waste, fraud, and abuse, and really that they're following best practices, et cetera, to execute their missions. So I was there for 5.5 years doing program analysis, mostly in the chemical weapons and nuclear nonproliferation areas. Which I enjoyed that work. I found it fascinating, the science of it. I just would like to nerd out on all of that stuff. So it was really, really great. It too was not for me. After a while, there are some things that came up that I just didn't really care for the way things were handled, and so I needed to move on. And so I applied to Deloitte Consulting and was hired there like lickety split. It was pretty awesome, and I was there for almost 7 years. And so this is really where you can see like a major shift in my career path. So when I started off at Deloitte, I was doing a lot of that security work, etc., and then basically transitioned over to human capital work. And so I really got a lot of, on-the-job training, certifications, etc., in that human capital area, and found that I had a natural affinity and ability in this area. And so have loved being in the human capital realm ever since. So I've done a wide range of human capital things like change management and communications planning and stakeholder analysis and strategic workforce planning, which is really, really interesting. And so because of that, really developed a good like strategic background. And so, after a while though, being at Deloitte with any corporate thing, I really didn't want the corporate demands on my time. So they wanted me to do things outside of my project work that I wouldn't get paid for and basically build up the corporate practice. And just for me, I had put in my time doing those things, but the second I stepped away, I had heard that if I had kept doing that work, I would have gotten a role model performance evaluation the 1 year, but because I didn't, I got it's basically a 1. I got a 2 instead of a 1. And I was like, well, that's kind of crap. I've been doing this for 6 years. I can't take a break. And no, you can't. So at that time, I quit my job. I quit my six-figure income, and I decided I was going to go all the way in on my network marketing career, and I was going to do that. And at the time, I didn't realize the impact it was going to have on my ego and on my confidence. And, I'm moving to 100% new field where I didn't have the skills yet, right? And walking away from that six-figure income, it was a big slap in the face. That year is a year of failure in my brain, but it's a year of such learning. Like, I can't even tell you how much I learned that year. It was super, super, super painful. I mean, I jumped the gun, right? So I learned a lot of really, really hard lessons. Like, you guys didn't see it, but I was depressed and I was stressed, like super, super stressed. So what I did is after a year of that pain and agony, God knows why it took me that long. I think I was just stubborn and really wanting to do it, but I was honestly paralyzed in fear. It was terrifying because I knew that I had made a mistake. I knew that I didn't have the skills. And I guess I just wasn't willing to admit the failure yet and go back to work, right? Because all these people had seen me walk out of Deloitte and be like, yeah, I love the corporate structure. Woo-hoo. But again, I jumped the gun. So, the good thing is with life, you can always course correct and make other decisions. So I went back to work full time, got that six-figure income back going again. So the stress and everything was alleviated. It was amazing. And so my income recovered, my ego recovered, and I began to study and build my skills for the network marketing business. So that was great. So I did that work for a year, and then I was laid off. And so I took that moment in time to say, okay, how do I want to design my life? This is a little bit going back to like what I was talking about yesterday. If I could choose what I was doing, what would I want it to look like? And, despite not wanting to do the full-time consulting work, I really do enjoy doing it. It's fantastic. It lets me use my brain in a different way. It's creative in a different way than my other work, like with the little yellow pill and everything is. So I really, really do enjoy the problem solving and the strategy and the execution that comes along with that. And so I decided, if I could do that part-time, that would be fantastic, because then that would leave me time to do the other things. And then that also allowed me to have that foundation of income so that, I didn't freak out like I did the year before, because I was in paralysis that year. And so having this consulting income part-time allows that to not happen. And so it keeps my confidence there as that foundation, because I know in my knower that I'm really good at that stuff. And I don't have to worry about it. It comes pretty easily to me to solve those problems, etc. So then I said, then I can build my network marketing business. And so that's sort of the balance I did. And so I kind of just had it. And I also wanted something that was like super flexible, right? So I talked a little bit about that yesterday, so that, I would work from home mostly, hopefully, and, wouldn't have to go sit, button seat all the time in the office. And so I luckily found this company called North Highland, and they have a business model for their consulting practice where they have full-time employees that do, same kind of 9-to-5 stuff at Deloitte and all these other great consulting firms. But they have what's called an affiliate model. So that's what I am. And so I'm a part-time employee so that they can scale up and down their projects. And so it was really great, because a lot of the big firms don't want to do that. Like, they'll let you go part-time if you are a full-time employee and have a baby or that kind of thing, but they're not really looking for part-time employees, right? They want you billing. So luckily I found North Highlands, and it's been a great marriage, and having a great time working with them, and also able to do my network marketing business. And then with the Airbnb, I'd had a couple of roommates and thought, let me try this other model out and see how that works. Really, really enjoy that so much. So if any of you are interested in becoming hosts or wanting to travel with Airbnb, I do both. So not always travel with Airbnb because obviously hotels have their places too, but I really love staying like just in Chicago. I found a fantastic place. If any of you want to come to Chicago, this place we stayed at, you can't beat it. So anyway, Naran, if you're if you're watching, I had an amazing time at your place. Um, so yeah, so anyway, that kind of gets me to where I am today. And so you can see that when I started off my career doing poli-sci and international studies, never in a million zillion years would I have guessed that I would be doing human capital work part-time and have a health and wellness business doing that from home. That was not where I envisioned myself. Like when I started off, I thought, oh, I'll go work at the CIA. I'm going to go do that stuff. And like today, I could tell you that's like the last place I would want to be. So if you are young and starting, don't feel like you have to figure it out. You'll figure it all out, and just try and get experience. I say to some of my cousins, like, if you get a job and you don't like it, that's information too, right? So not every job is perfect, as we all know. So just kind of, keep looking for those doors to open in front of you and keep your eyes open and listening to yourself when something's wrong and, looking for a new path. It's amazing what opportunities are out there for you if you are open and you're listening. Because if you're not open and listening, guess what? You're not going to even see those doors and those windows available for you to walk through. So that's just a little bit about me. And so next time, I think what I was going to talk about, just based on this, is sort of the benefits of me having both styles of income and what I see by having both of those. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Day 2 of my 90 is done, and I will see you tomorrow.